Okay, so we'll talk about this. I already had this slide here, so it works. But I don't know if you guys have felt it, and I've been talking about it for like 2 or 3 months, but the rules of scaling a coaching business seem to have changed, right? I don't know how long whoever's watching this, right, and those of you who are alive have been coaching, but if you've been coaching for 2 to 3+ years, like you've seen things shift in your return on ad spend, you've seen things shift in offers. And so I can just jam on this for a little bit, just funnels in general, and my mindset on them. And then if you guys have any questions, I'll open it up, here in just a few, and we can just talk about marketing today. So let's start with this. You're an online coach, right? You're a coach selling something high ticket, ideally, right? Probably 3K plus, right? Whether that's fitness, marriage coaching, health coaching, finance coaching, business coaching, literally the list goes on and on and on, right? Maybe you're selling a bit of done for you there as well, but point is, you're selling something on the internet for 3K plus, right? And so how I look at funnels and think about funnels, honestly, is different probably than most, but I'll just cover the basics first. So you've got the top of funnel, right? Middle of funnel, and then bottom of funnel, right? And so at the top of the funnel, all you're trying to do is get your message in front of strangers, right? And that's what we would consider, cold traffic. So think about this. When you first start your coaching business, all of you guys know this, like you make a post on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and your high school friends, your grandma, and your mom sees it, right? And just so happens, maybe somebody at your church signs up for your program, right? Then the next layer, right? So we'd call the middle layer family and friends, if you will. And then if you zoom out a bit further, then you have the next layer, which are, friends of friends. So let's say the guy who goes to church with you and signed up for your program also, has a friend who needs the same thing, and then they enroll into your program. Now you're kind of in the friends of friends, section. And where you can make a ton of money, though, is if you can get to the third, which is strangers, right? So the reason organic marketing works so well is because it works really good for this circle. And if you can crack the algorithm, you can start getting your stuff in front of strangers. But predictably, the only way that I've seen to do it in a way that makes sense to me personally is by running ads targeted to cold traffic, right? So let's just say you record an ad, right, for fitness coaching or whatever it is. You set it up to run to cold traffic, and then all we're asking them to do is some type of opt-in. So it doesn't matter what funnel you're running, whether it's the Instagram funnel, school funnel, even a low-ticket funnel, Facebook group funnel, webinar funnel, challenge funnel. The whole premise is that we're running it to some type of cold traffic, an ad that speaks to who they are, right? This is where a lot of people get stuck too. It's like, oh, I'm a fitness coach, but who are you a fitness coach for? Right? So if you took a fitness coach who's just generic versus a fitness coach who coached firefighters, I would put my money on the person who coaches firefighters making more money. Why? Because he's very specific. And so the whole goal with the offer is to go from being a family. For instance, let me tell you a story. So about 2 weeks ago, I woke up in the middle of the night with like this super sharp pain in my stomach. And I went to the ER because it was so bad. And I'm pretty good with pain usually. And they were like, Brandon, nothing's wrong. Go home. 4 days later and 4 nights of barely sleeping because my stomach was hurting so bad. I go to a different doctor, and she's like, "Oh, you have an infection in your intestines somehow. Like, that's why it's hurting so bad." And she gave me medicine. Literally the next morning, I woke up feeling close to 100%. So with a lot of coaches, you're like the ER doctor, which nothing against the ER, but he wasn't an expert. But whenever I went to a different doctor who was more versed in that specific problem, she was able to say, "Hey, this is what's wrong." Right? And that person's able to charge more. You would think, unless you're in America, then the ER charges way more. But that's besides the point. So do you want to be a family doctor where you help with everything, or do you want to be a brain surgeon? The answer should be a brain surgeon, right? Because you make more money and you're solving a specific problems for a specific group of people in a specific way. So first is who, then you've got your how. How are you actually delivering the results, right? And this could also be known as mechanism, right? So let me kind of break down how I actually came up with this funnel. I think it'll help. So for a long time, I tried to make money in coaching, like probably 3 years, and like I was stuck below 10K a month. I think I hit 110K a month, something like that. And I wasn't clear on who, and I didn't have a mechanism, right? But then whenever I guess got the revelation or whatever you want to call it, and I targeted kingdom coaches, right? This was my first offer that really took off. So online coaches who identified, as Christian, let's say, and a mechanism which was helping them run paid ads to their Instagram. Those two things coupled together made me more money than the ad ever did. Because the ad wasn't the thing that got the momentum kickstarted. It was actually the offer. So let me explain it this way. You could have a decent offer and good ads and make good money. Or you could have an incredible offer with decent ads and make a ton of money. So it's less about the actual ad and the creative and the targeting, although that does matter a bit, and it's more about what your message is. So that's why this is so important and separates people from making 5K a month and 200K a month, right? So that's the top of the funnel, if you will. Opt in, this could be running follower ads, getting people to join your school group, webinar, VSL funnel, challenge funnel, all those different types of things, right? So now that we have an opt-in, right? So let's say you saw my ad on Instagram, which some of you did, and then you gave me a follow. As soon as you either gave me a follow, you opted into my school group, webinar, VSL, whatever, immediately there was some type of outreach or message being sent, because now you're not a cold lead anymore, right? You're a warm lead, right? And so you've made it into the middle of my funnel, if you will. And so this is where a lot of people miss. So it's like you've got the middle of funnel here, and so you assume because you're running a follower ad, you can go straight to conversations and to like getting the book a call, right? And then so you're mostly focused on like new ads, and you're mostly focused on sending a ton of messages, but you're not as focused on nurturing. So the middle of funnel here is where nurturing takes a huge backseat for most coaches, but in reality, it should be one of the primary things. So for instance, in the chat, how many of you guys watched either my YouTube channel or my school group before you ended up joining the coaching program? Put me in the chat if some point or another you watched my YouTube channel or school. Me. Yeah. So I would say probably all of you, right? Maybe couple didn't. But the point,
VSL was so good, it made me want to watch a few other videos.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, the thing is like, that's not unique to Brandon. Like, you guys can do that too. And the reason it's so good, and actually, Christian, whenever we were talking yesterday, you said that you already decided that you wanted to buy based on the video, not because of anything that I said or anything like that, but because I was speaking to the exact things that were on your heart, where you wanted to go, things like that. So that is the whole purpose of what I was talking about at the top, which is getting a niche, right? So if you know who you're helping, how you're helping them, and you know their pain better than they know the pain themselves, you will make a ton of money. Like, think about that. If you dedicate your coaching business's existence to understanding the pain of your ideal clients more than they understand it themselves, you'll make a lot of money. So think of this. Pain is, a thing that I think humanity shares, I mean, obviously, in a deep way, right? So whenever you see the word pain, some of you guys are thinking about, oh, I stubbed my toe. Others of you are going through a heartbreak with like a breakup. Some of you have lost a loved one. Maybe addiction runs in your family. Like, there's all types of different emotions that come from pain. So one way that you can use pain to build more trust is by describing the feeling of pain. So think about it. Like, let's do this. The pain of giving out a refund for your coaching program. Like, some of you guys have had to do that. And instantly, you're like, oh, man. But let me say it again. You know that warm, let's say it this way, actually. You know that feeling you get in the pit of your stomach whenever you had to give a refund and you spent $5,000 on ads this month and have no profit left over and you don't know how you're going to pay your bills? It's like this pit in your stomach where you're wondering if you're going to make it. It's like instantly, just by describing it, it resonates deeper. So if you can be an expert at what the different pain points are, think about this. Are you scared to take your shirt off at the pool? Like, that's one way to phrase it as a fitness coach. Or you could say, are you, so insecure that you don't even go to pool parties anymore because you dread the idea of somebody asking you to take your shirt off again like they did last time, and you feeling, the shame and guilt after because you don't look the way you know you're called to look, or whatever, right? So if you can hit on pain, again, could be viewed as a negative, but if you can learn how to help people who are dealing with pain actually use that as fuel to change, right? Not only will they trust you and relate to you, but it will cause them to want to take action. So in the middle of the funnel, like, that's where I go deep on pain, right? Outcomes. So that's one piece of it, is speaking to the pain, right? But then talk about the outcome. And so here's where most coaches fail miserably, is they think because they know the outcome that people want, that they're qualified to coach on it. Like, of course, everyone wants to make more money. Everyone wants to have better relationships. Everyone wants to be in shape. But the best outcomes that you can actually preach on, talk about, teach on, are the outcomes that you have achieved yourself. So some coaches don't even have an ad problem or a top of funnel problem. They have an alignment problem. What am I saying? Meaning you're coaching on something that you're not actually even living out. So it's like, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? It's very simple. Don't be an imposter. Right? Yeah, so pain, right? Understanding their pain better than they even understand it themselves. Practically, go take this to ChatGPT. Say, hey, Chat, I coach people on X, Y, and Z. Here's what I think they're struggling with. Describe what they're struggling with, add more to the list, and then describe how they're feeling for each one of the struggles. And then just go read it, right? And then become acquainted with that. But then become clear on the outcomes they want. Like, most people that are starting a coaching business, they have a deep desire to make an impact in the world, right? They might not concede the impact because of their need for money at the moment, but deep down, they know that they're called to something great. They want to make an impact. Then they want to make an income. They don't want to be tied to a job. They don't want to have to request vacation days off. They don't want to have to wonder where their next client's coming from. They don't want to have to live paycheck to paycheck or client to client. They want to be able to build wealth. They want to be able to tithe 10%. They want to be able to give. They want to buy people cars. They want to buy, family members' houses. Like some of you guys, as I'm saying that, are resonating like, oh my gosh, you're right. So you have to know their outcomes too. But you have to be able to draw a bridge, if you will, of how you are the solution to helping them get the outcome that they want. So like as basic as it is, my whole middle of funnel is essentially school videos, YouTube videos, reels, showing people how to go from their pain point to their dream outcome. And how I did it and how they can do it too. So that's one powerful way. It's like, hey, I actually did this. Another powerful way is being able to say, I've also helped 100 other people do it. That's testimonials, right? Building even more trust. And so let's break this down just a little more practical, just so you guys, I know, are tracking. So you run an ad to get a follower, a school member, webinar lead, VSL lead, whatever type of funnel you're running. Then the goal is to get them into your middle of funnel, which is to view some type of content that gives value. And what is the value we're going to give? Direction. We're going to show them how to take their current situation and make it better using one of our frameworks. That is essentially all the middle of funnel is. Now, what you can do to kind of beef this up a little more is instead of just, getting followers and then posting a YouTube video on your story, like, hey guys, go watch this new video, or sending out an email, hey guys, go watch this new video. You could do a few different things. And I'm just going to show you guys practically what I do. So I run ads, right, to the middle of funnel, retargeting ads. These ads are only targeted to followers. So no longer are these cold ads, meaning no strangers are seeing this ad. All of the ad dollars, right, are going towards warm leads. And the reason this is more powerful is because these people are already somewhat interested in what you're offering. And there's really two places these types of ads for me go to. It's either a conversation, right? But it's always ends up and results in them going to the middle of funnel. Right? So what does that mean practically? Like, take a picture of you pointing at your YouTube VSL and then run it as a retargeting ad and say, free training for, young dads who want to get in shape. Message me, dad, if you want me to send you over the exact breakdown of how I went from 180 to 165. Right? And then they message you, dad, you have a setting conversation, but you also send them the middle of funnel content, right? And then the more middle of funnel content you make, essentially the more money you make, right? And then the end goal for these types of funnels is usually a sales, we'll call it a sales conversation, whether that's on Zoom or in the DMs or something like that. That is basically the stage in which someone is already interested in working with you. They have the pain point that you help with. They like your messaging. They want to learn more about what it looks like to pay you money in exchange for the outcome that they want, right? So that's how it works. And a lot of people, I'll say this, like, it's crazy how many people don't actually take calls with hot leads. They take calls with warm leads because they don't ever go through the middle of funnel. So the way you get a lead to become hot is for them to go through some type of middle of funnel content. So if you're taking calls with people that haven't watched your VSL, your closing rate's going to be lower, your cash on call is going to be lower, show rate's going to be lower, the energy on the call is going to be lower. It's just not going to be worth your time long term. But if you're taking calls with people who, A, came through the funnel, right? They start watching your long form content, they watch your VSL before the call, and they show up on time, like the odds of you closing them are like 50%, right? If you're good, 60 to 70 if you're great, right? 30% if you're just brand new to sales, I would say. So,
Question, Brendan. So
yeah.
For me, since my VSL isn't built out yet, I'm going to work on that this week. But I'm clearly getting a lot of messages from the ad that I'm running. Is the best way to nurture my middle of funnel is that appointment setting conversation, maybe dig a little bit more deeper and take my time there. And then maybe instead, since I'm not going to have the VSL link to attach to like the Zoom call and say, hey, check this video out before, I just say like, hey, run through my Instagram. I know I have like a few posts of like, you know, I just got my pro card. I have a few posts of like my journey to pro. I have a few of like my journey in the gym. I have a few of, you know, when I went to church and like I got saved and things like that to learn a little bit more about me. See what we like, are those good things? Like, is it worth saying go run through my Instagram and see my story over the past few years or what?
Yeah, instead of saying like go through my Instagram, I would just send them the video and say, hey, give this a quick watch before. But the best answer would be to do whatever you got to do to get your VSL done as soon as you can. And then long term, just start using that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So even a rough draft is better than nothing. Yeah, sure thing. Does anybody else have any questions? We can stay on this for a bit if you guys want.
Brandon, quick question for you. The retargeting ads you're doing for your followers, that's through the meta system, not through the Instagram, post ad system, correct?
Yep. Yeah. Meta business. Yeah, and there's a training on it in the school group that shows you how to set them up.
Sorry, say again?
There's a training in the school group that shows you how to set them up. But yeah, it's in Meta Business Suite.
Excellent. Okay, that's awesome. I would think so. The middle of funnel ads, it's not a bad idea for me to send followers my DSL. I mean, any problems with that, or is that a good idea?
Yeah, it all depends on how. Like, for instance, I, in real time, am going to take a picture right now of this screen in front of me, pointing to it. And I'm going to say, I just did a training on breaking down a funnel, A to Z. Message me funnel if you want it. And then people, here in a little bit, will message me funnel, and then I will send them the video. And then boom, they're in my middle of funnel. So the positioning of how you give your middle of funnel content away matters. Like for instance, someone follows you, the first thing you do is send them your VSL. Probably won't work. But if they follow you, see your content, and then reach out because you posted about your VSL and they want it, that would definitely work.
Cool. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
Really helpful, actually. Do you ever do, in terms of follower ads, do you ever DM me for, VSL, DM me the word, whatever, super duper for the VSL, for that, guide on how to X, Y, Z, but would that be?
Yeah, 100%. So that would be where I would do retargeting ads for. Yep.
Do you like lookalikes, by the way? I mean, I can do a lookalike off my followers in the meta system. Could that work quite well? Because again, they're potentially warmer than just randos, I think.
I wouldn't personally do a lookalike. I would just target, people that already follow you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Perfect. Unless I do targeting people, targeting lookalikes for net, like for top of funnel ads, maybe for net new ads.
Yep. Exactly.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Clear. Thank you. That's helpful.
Sure thing. Does anybody else have questions on this? Because if not, I'm going to go a little deeper.
I think Ben's had his hand raised for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you can just unmute, bro.
That's good, dude.
Let's. I will say, any questions? Let's keep on the topic of a funnel for now. But yeah, go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, so this was about the top of funnel ad that you mentioned, that the ad wasn't what crushed, it was the offer that crushed. Could you go a little bit deeper into like, is it just like standing out, or like what goes into really creating a good offer that crushes?
Yeah. So, for instance, in the coaching space right now, like a buzzword that's been going around is like trust recession, meaning this, if you guys didn't know this already, for most offers, trust is at an all-time low. Like, how many of you guys got hit with some type of ad today from a coach? Probably all of you guys, right? Like, whether it was mine or someone else's, right? And because of that, competition, right, is at an all-time high. Meaning this, there's so many people joining and flooding the market of the online space that there are hundreds and thousands of fitness coaches, right? And there's hundreds and thousands of people who have paid fitness coaches and lost trust in fitness coaches because their program sucked. And that could be true about a ton of niches. So unless you're just like an outlier and have like a really niched offer to begin with, you're facing a battle where there's more competitors going after your clients than ever before, and where the clients all of you guys are going after have less trust than ever before. So essentially, if we know that these are the two things we have opposing us, we need to create an offer that A, removes us from the competition to where we're not even seen as competitors anymore, and builds trust with people. And how do you build trust online? From what I've seen, it's by being relatable and finding common ground. And then again, knowing the pain that they have themselves better than anyone else. So just the example I used earlier is like, okay, let's say you're just an online fitness coach, generic, versus an online fitness coach who helps firefighters only. Why would that, be better? And the reason is because A, he just basically got rid of all his competition because he's probably the only one who does that, right? And he just got a massive amount of trust in that select group of audience because it's so custom to them, and he probably knows their schedules and stuff like that better than anyone else. But one last thing, the biggest key to all of this is that whoever you target, you want to make sure that they have money. Because if they don't have money, they can't afford to buy your stuff to begin with. So then all of it becomes pretty irrelevant, and then you're going to get price objections, left and right. But yeah, I hope that helps.
Sure. So it's more about your messaging and who you're targeting, and less about the actual mechanism of how you're getting the result.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, for example. So that's more on like the who, what I just went over, but let's go over the how. Okay, let's say you help firefighters, right, lose weight, right, on the carnivore diet. It's like that, depending on the type, I don't know if you guys remember, it's kind of buzzword right now, like it seems like a lot of people are doing it again, but several years ago, like carnivore diet was huge, right? So it's like if you can couple a good niche with a great new opportunity mechanism, things just blow up. So I credit 50% of the success early on for me was the niche, and then the other 50% was the IG growth funnel. And then the IG growth funnel, the mechanism actually started doing so well, then people started joining who weren't even in my niche. Like they were just like, dude, what the heck? What kind of funnel is this? I need it. Right? So the goal is that whatever you're teaching mechanism-wise is different and is something that is a new opportunity. Because if not, you just have an improvement offer. Right? Russell Brunson talks about this all the time. So it's like, I help coaches scale with ads, and then they join your program, and then you're just helping them do the ads they're already doing, but a little better. Like that's good. It can make them more money. But a better offer would be like, I help coaches scale with this new funnel that no one's teaching and you probably haven't heard about yet. And then they get in, and it's a brand new system and funnel. They're like, oh, wow, this is a new thing. never done it, never heard of it. That always works better. But yeah,
Question.
yeah, what's up?
So, what if like our ad? We don't have that much bread to put into ads. What do you think the best option for me to do?
Yeah,
I have spending money, but I just don't have enough to do it like every single day.
I would say it really, that's a loaded question. I'll answer it as if I was in that situation, and like, let's say I had $500 left personally, right? What would I do with it? I personally would take a look at all of the things I have around me, and like, I'm just telling you what I would do. I was like, is there anything I could sell? Right? Okay, cool. And then second is, how can I have as many possible conversations with people that it would be almost impossible for me to not get one sale? Right? And then 2 would be turn ads back on, right? Ads on, and then be so aggressive with conversations and sales that, again, it would feel almost impossible for it not to work. Because usually, if that's the case, it's like a lot. Let me say it this way. But before I did any of that, I would also verify that the offer is actually good and that the mechanism you're teaching is actually desirable. And ChatGPT low-key could help you iron all that stuff out. Because a lot of people, what they do is people are very quick to blame ads when in reality, it's their appointment setting process, or their VSL sucks, or the offer sucks. And it's like, oh, ads suck. But in reality, all ads is a magnifying glass. So, and I'm speaking more so like broadly, not just talking to you, bro. But like, if a coach isn't making sales right now,
Yeah.
right, and then they think, oh, they're going to turn ads on and just make a ton of sales, like, it doesn't really work like that. It can if this process is already good, but I would say just start from, the bottom and then work your way to the ads. So it's like, okay, are you good at sales calls? Right? And then boom, is your setting process dialed in? Yes. Okay. Is your offer dialed in? No. And it's like, okay, that could explain why the ad's not hitting.
Right.
And, yeah. But we can go deeper on that here in a few. I'm going to open it up for like more broad Q&A here in a sec. I hope that helped.
No, I appreciate it.
Sweet.
Thank you for this. Does this apply to B2B as well, this funnel? I really love what you're doing here. I assume it is, but I'd like to hear what experience or what insights you would say about B2B.
Yeah, this is the same. For sure.
Okay, perfect.
B2B, depending on what you're selling, but 90% of the time, like, you have to have a middle of funnel. Like, this is crucial, the middle of funnel. So, for instance,
let me ask you something, Brandon, because it seems like you're stressing, like, if you can get the top of the funnel down, that the middle of the funnel is going to be the most important and you want to offer as much value there. How do you focus on giving away value in the middle of the funnel without giving away like too much value? Like, you give away a lot of value.
Yeah.
You also do it in a way where you're not giving away too much, because like, should you ever be worried about giving away too much value, because you're like, man, if I just keep giving away stuff, eventually people are not even going to have to work with me because they're going to be able to learn so much on their own,
Yeah, I would say that that's the goal, is that you give away so much that people start getting results from your free stuff. Like, dude,
Be worried about that.
no, not at all. Value attracts value. So first of all, let's say you create a YouTube video that is giving away your whole system, right? Which I actually have already done. And it got like 200,000 views, which helped big time. I had people message me like, hey, Brandon, I got to 25K a month just from watching this YouTube video. I want to pay you to join your program now. So imagine if you created a video that's helping people lose weight and you show them exactly what to eat, exactly how to do it, boom, 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 boom. 99% of the people aren't even going to do it, because people who don't pay attention. But then let's say the 1% of people do it and then they start getting results. The odds of them referring someone to you or joining your program are extremely high, right? And then the other thing about the 99% is none of them will probably do the work, but then they instantly see you as an expert and know you can help. So then whenever the conversation does happen, the odds are much higher.
Yeah, I agree. I like what Wes said in the chat. I didn't open it, but I saw it pop up. It was like, wow, if he's giving away this much stuff without me paying him, imagine I paid what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like with B2B specifically, value attracts value, right? So the more stuff you give away, the more the perceived value goes up, stuff like that. So I'm going to transition to one other thing really quick that's just a bit more advanced, but I want you guys to track. So I always tell people to start with one funnel, right? So I usually suggest the Instagram funnel, right, to start with. So let's say you've already got, most of you guys do, let's say you've got your ad going, you've got like a couple retargeting ads, right? And you're booking calls consistently and you're making money, right? So I want to show you how like the different, phases of the funnel matter as you scale out with more funnels. So remember, you've got the top of funnel, which is, cold traffic, middle of funnel, which is warm traffic, bottom of funnel, which is hot, meaning they hopped on a call or conversation with you. So then whenever you get to this level, right, this is, coaches usually 0 to 50K a month, I would say. But once you get to around 50K a month, you can actually launch a new funnel. And like you could do this sooner than that. That's just a rough, number label to put on it. It could be different for each person. But what I did, let's just say, is I started my school funnel quite some time ago. And our school funnel crushes for us because I had already spent probably close to $500,000 to $600,000 on ads, creating this huge top of funnel pool. So like all of these people up here, right? Millions of coaches, if you will, saw my ads, right? Maybe they didn't click on my ad, but they saw it nonetheless, right? Attention. And so what I did whenever I launched my school group was I did a lookalike audience of anyone who has ever messaged me on Instagram and a lookalike audience of my followers, right? So then my ad for the top of the school funnel, if you will, wasn't actually running to cold traffic anymore. It was running to warm traffic. Plus, it had a lookalike audience to where it could expand into cold as well. But when it did expand into cold, it had a lot more data because it had already started getting conversions, right? And then in school, the reason this crushes for B2B is because it's long form content, right? After they go through the content, right, they get on a call. And so that's how I did the school funnel. Then I'm just going to show you guys one last thing. This is how I did the low ticket funnel. I took the audience from my school group and I launched an ad for my low ticket funnel to my school audience. So if you think of it, I basically took people from here, right? Got them into this funnel, right? Now they're in the middle of funnel here. And then I hit them with another ad, right? To go through the low ticket funnel, right? And what is the point of the low ticket funnel? Just to get them into more long form content. And then, right, you make money on the back end of that. And then so it almost becomes a game where you can literally make as many funnels as you want to and just keep helping people. So yeah, any questions on that piece there? Because I know some of you guys tracked with it super well. Some of you guys like, oh my gosh, I'm confused.
I have a question, but it might be, I might have had to say it on the last slide. And it's kind of unique, so hopefully it's fine just because I don't know if other people in the group can relate it this time, but I have a following on Instagram that isn't necessarily like, didn't follow me for my unique offer. Um, and I'm launching my coaching program, but I have this big following that kind of like followed me for a specific reason. So I'm not sure what would you suggest on how to like set up my funnel? Would it be I have this following that I push to like YouTube who follows for a specific like what goes through my content and the content acts as a funnel, or what do you think?
Yeah, what is your following on Instagram for? Like, what do people follow you for?
I'm running a series right now called Unbiased. So it's a series where I break down each day a cognitive bias that we have. And so the following, it still positions me as an authority in neuroscience, which was kind of the goal. And then the coaching program I'm coming out with is how to sell using neuroscience. So it has overlaps, but it's not directly for the coaching program.
Yeah, I would say you could run retargeting ads to it now. Let me check out your content. Let me ask you this. What is your coaching program going to help people with?
It's like our target is aiming for 25 to 27-year-olds who have been either selling for 1 to 3 years that are looking to go from, who have kind of like the foundation and looking to go from good to great, kind of like level up in their sales.
Yeah, I would either do one of two things personally. I would start another Instagram specific to sales if you want to keep this one kind of separate. And then I would run follower ads to that. But you could also use this one to promote your YouTube channel, your new Instagram, and even run some retargeting ads on. That's an option. Option 2 would just be to use this Instagram and run ads and start doing CTAs and just seeing, because all these people might be interested, but they're probably not all salespeople, if I was to guess.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people reach out asking how can they use biases in their marketing or sales. So I feel like there's a good overlap. It's just I'm right now I'm thinking short form is pushing them to YouTube, and then depending on the videos that they watch on YouTube is where I can kind of funnel them to the offer.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's definitely some salespeople that follow you. You've got a lot of followers, but probably not the mass majority. And then YouTube is a safe place to push people. But you could also do like a poll on your story. That would give you a good sense of like how many people are interested in versus not interested.
Okay, so based off the poll, it might make sense to start a new page just for sales, or
Yep.
if they care about it. Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, you just don't want to dilute what you've got going on that page with like a bunch of sales content, because that's like your videos are dope. I'm looking at them.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about, and I don't want to take too much time, but I was thinking about starting a neuro blueprint series, just like how I have this Unbiased series, and then the blueprint kind of covers things that are in the sales training, but it's not specifically like this is how you sell more. It's more like here's how you understand decision making and like
Yeah.
biases or heuristics or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask another question.
Sweet.
So I was gonna ask, I feel like I've been running ads. The ads I have been running have been getting like the wrong audience, or the wrong people are getting to it or seeing it, I guess I would say. So it's like I feel like a lot of people are coming into me and I used to do like comedy stuff, like storytelling stuff. So I would get like people from all different countries DMing me like, oh, ha ha ha, this is so funny, but it's not really like a client. And then I did change the ad to United States, and I feel like I haven't really been getting any like this good qualified leads through just doing United States.
Got it. What's your offer?
So I help people tell their story, and then I basically help them grow their social media.
What types of people?
B2B business owners, a lot of business owners.
Do you say that in the ad?
Not millennial, sorry, Gen X, like older people that don't have like a successful business but don't really understand how to run social media, how to build, how to tell a story, how to edit, how to kind of do all that.
Yeah. Do you say that in the ad? Like, hey, are you a successful business owner that knows social media is your next step?
No, I haven't.
I would do that. So yeah, I would target, older successful business owners who are crushing it. They have money, but they know they could be making a lot more if they mastered social media.
Right.
Yeah.
So would you in the ad in that script, would you put that in like the first
Yeah.
first couple lines?
Yeah. Are you a blank? So just like the follower ad script, are you a blank? And then insert everything we just said. Like, are you a...
And then I was gonna ask, would I go even more broad? Because I've been working with estheticians at the moment too, kind of helping them grow their businesses and tell their story. Do you think I should just go straight and just say, if you're an esthetician in the Raleigh area, looking to share your story and grow an audience to help you build that business online, kind of target it straight towards them?
I wouldn't niche down the area because that would limit it a lot. But I would say if you have proven results and have helped them multiple times, yes, that is the perfect example of an offer. Like the first one you told me, just being honest, I was like, I would even struggle to do like 5 to 15K a month with. But the esthetician offer, like that's like a 50 to 100K a month offer right there. Just simply,
Pop it off too.
yeah.
A lot of younger girls are starting to do that for their careers.
Yes. So you could literally just teach them Instagram ads and content. Like you could teach them the same ads we're talking about right now, and it would work for them. That's what I would do, bro. But obviously, think about it, pray about it. But that $500 example I gave earlier about what to do with the money, like if you spent $500 on the basic offer ads that I just talked about, maybe you make one sale. If you spent $500 on the esthetician ads, I bet you close 2 or 3, just because it's such a better offer.
Right, and they're already coming to me, so it's kind of like, I think I should just go straight to them.
I would.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool, guys. I've got time for one more question.
I got one.
What up, Wes?
What's up, dude? Glad you're feeling better. So the question you mentioned a few minutes ago, you mentioned usually people jump to ads, but it could be an issue with setting, could be an issue with middle of funnel, closing, etc. When it comes to ads, curious, I'm 5 days in on my follower ad. I don't know if it's too early to tell. I'm getting followers for about $6.25 a piece. And I've had one conversation with someone that has not been just there for content. So,
what is your niche?
You say that again?
What's your niche? Like, what's your offer?
Fitness. I help Christian dads in sales.
Okay. So, I remember now. How much have you spent?
$100. I'm $20 a day.
Okay. So, one of the good things about having a niche is that the leads will be way better. One of the bad things early on is that it takes just a little bit for the algorithm to figure out who those guys are. So my best advice would be to leave it on. And so like anytime you run ads, like outside of this offer too, just any offer for everyone listening, like the first $0 to $300, right? It's basically you at a bonfire with your friends and you lighting all that money on fire. So it's like, it's called the learning phase. But then once your ads are out of the learning phase, essentially Facebook now knows who to show it to, essentially. So like you could have a generic offer and like the learning phase lasts for like $10 and then it knows. But more niched offers, it'll probably be like the first 150 to 200, maybe 300 even. And then you'll start to see like, okay, now it's clicking.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I would say for sure. But when it clicks, they click way harder on niches.
Wes, what was, did you say your cost per profile or your cost per follow? What metrics did you give?
Yeah, cost per follow.
And you said it was 6 something? Because we launched on the same time, right? Like I was one day after you.
Yeah, I'm 625.
Yeah, it's a little hot compared to me. I mean, I don't want to like make it a comparison about. I'm at like $1.55. I got 60 followers. I'm doing $50 a day though, and I'm $93 in, and I've gotten 60 followers. So,
Sick.
Yeah, so
but I also noticed when it was in the learning phase, it was higher, and then when it actually started doing the 50 a day, it went down. So it's almost like Brandon, you tell me if I'm wrong, but this is an assumption. It's almost like the more you do put in a day, they reward you for showing you to more people. Like they want people to put money into ads. So
until
how many a day?
yeah, until you get to a certain point. So there is like a sweet spot between like 20 and $100 a day, but then once you go above 100, like they just tank.
Diminishing returns.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's part of it. I do think just with like your niche being a bit tighter than most, like not only is it Christians, but you know, that's like 50%. They have to be a dad. And then not only that, they have to be in sales. So it's like 3 hoops for them to jump through, which again is really good once the ad starts cracking. So my guess is that this goes down significantly. But I just wanted to say this just for everybody watching. How I think through ads was like one of the comments I saw at the very beginning. I don't even track this anymore. Just so y'all kind of know. The only metric that I care about on follower ads is cost per call. And that I would say for everybody on this call, if you're getting sales calls between $75 and $300, you're good. Like that is the metric that makes you money, is your cost per call.
A single call?
Yep. Yeah, like a single sales call. Yep.
Can I ask something about that, Brandon?
Yeah.
How are you knowing which ads are hitting and taking off and which to scale and which to kill if you're not tracking some of those softer metrics?
Because I don't track them, I don't know. But this is how I do it. It's kind of like a formula, if you will. If you stick to the script, what I have seen to be true, the ad will work. Right? So let's say I've got a follower ad at $50 a day. Like what some people would do is they would nerd out over like the cost per follow. And so like, sure, I'm sure you could get it a little better by doing that potentially. But what I've realized is just because you're getting cheap followers, like cheap followers does not indicate that they're quality followers. So I would rather pay $10 per follow, but them actually be qualified to get on a call than 50 cents a follow and no one book. So the real metric that I like that tells me if the followers are good or not is the cost per call. So what I did was since I know the script works and the messaging works, whenever I want to scale the ads, I just keep them all at the exact same spend and then just do more of what's already working. So like whenever I talk about scaling, follower ads, all it involves is you recording another follower ad exactly like the first one, maybe just a different shirt and location, and boosting it for the exact same amount and then just ripping it. So that's kind of how you scale the follower ads.
If your cost all starts going up, right? Like for whatever reason, things are starting to move in the wrong direction. How do you start tampering down spend, or how do you deal with that?
Yeah, so if your cost per call, let's say, goes up, usually,
That's what I meant.
yeah, usually you can tie it to a couple different things. The coach themselves, like let's say you got sick, so then you haven't posted a reel in 2 weeks, so you haven't done a CTA in 2 weeks, and then you haven't posted a YouTube video in 2 weeks, right? Like that could be a part of it. Another thing is like, so I would look at content first, right? And consistency with content. Then I would look at your energy. Like, does the content that we put out recently suck? And just be honest with yourself, right? And then from there, I would look at your setter. Like, okay, has he done what he needs to do? For instance, I was working with this guy who's doing 30K a month. They used to do 200K a month, went down to 30K a month. And now, first month of working together, they're on pace for 100 again because the content was good, energy was good, but his setter, for whatever reason, was doing no outbounds. Like, he wasn't messaging the new followers, is the point. So literally, notice that on the first call, I said do 100 outbounds a day, right? Within a week, he had done 700, 2 weeks, 1,400, and then a byproduct of all that was they booked a ton of calls, and then their cost per call went back down. So content, energy, setter, and then, yeah, that's usually will show you a bottle. Like most times you'll find an issue with your setter, your energy, and your content. And if you don't, then you can try cutting down spend for just, a temporary period.
Right.
But one last thing I'll say, bro, is on funnels, there are breaking points. Like, I don't know anyone spending $1,000 or more a day on the IG growth funnel successfully anymore, right? Like, I did it at one point in time, and it just diminishing returns. So whenever you will get to a point to where it's like it would actually make you more money if you were only spending 150 a day on ads on Instagram than if you spent 300, right? And then, so what you do at that point is launch a different funnel with the other ads. Guys, I am a little over. I got another call here to hop on, but appreciate you guys. This was a great call. I think we'll do part 2 next week and then just go pick back up basically here and then go a little deeper because there's some more stuff that I didn't even get to talk about, like email and challenges, webinars. So we'll pick back up on this exact same thing, same time next week.